Hello, everyone. Yes, so we all decided to wear hats today, except for Mike, obviously.
And I should.
He doesn't want to cover up the flowing locks.
Right.
Yeah, true.
I'm looking like a girls' soccer coach that I am at night. That's my other job.
Yeah. I mean, I desperately need a haircut too. So I mean,
Yeah.
do that.
Even
Nice.
I need a
Good
haircut,
look.
but I'm not even going there.
I'm doing an homage to Bruce Boudreau. In a few years, I'll be.
It's out of my hair is out of control right now, which is
I got
actually a
it.
good problem to have.
You know what's funny is I've got this. This is the whale here is, the vineyard vines.
Yep.
Vineyard vines, right? Which I'm sure Dan is the only one who would know about, right?
Oh,
Like,
I get that. Yeah, being from New England, yeah, sure.
neither of you two would have any idea what this is. So
No.
this is like the Izod of today. Like this is like this whale is essentially the alligator of our youth, right? Where you had like the Izod shirts. So I always wanted, when I was a kid, the Izod was really big. That was like a big thing, and so I always wanted one of those, but we couldn't afford them. So I remember getting a fake one, like a fake Izod shirt where the alligator was like facing the wrong direction and was,
That's funny.
and was a lot bigger than he should have been, like on the shirt. Like, and I'm like, I don't think that's right. I was like, yeah, take it, you got it, no problem, you're good.
After
It's cool
after
to
the
be-
show, Eck needs to tend to his horses and clean his yacht out on the vineyard.
Yeah, that's what it looks like I should do right now, right? Like, throw me some more oysters. But yeah, no, completely. So that kind of scarred me. But to be honest, I will just tell you that this is my daughter's hat. I just couldn't find another hat today. So anyway,
I want
she's
shrimps,
really
I
into
want
this.
prawns. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really into this. But let's get started, shall we? Sorry, bell to start. Is this working, Mike? By the way.
Yeah. It's also working with making me deaf.
To show how much we care about Mike.
Hello, Hockey World. It's Thursday, April 28th, 2016.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Dan Petru.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I am Eklund, and I am always right. I want to throw that out there. Mike's just taken off, right? But I will say this. Come on now. I was looking, if we had real people working on this show behind the scenes, besides the dogs and the rats that live down here.
And Russ the chicken.
And Russ the chicken, who took a lot of heat yesterday. We'll get into that later. But if we had more people working behind the scenes, I would be able to bring up the video of how much I was laughed at in each of my predictions for the Predators. I mean,
Sorry.
Mike, you sat there and just
Sorry,
laughed.
I had to go vomit.
You just laughed, Mike, when I said Predators in 7. I remember we had Kevin Allen on. You
Yes.
just laughed at me.
Yes.
If you recall, I wanted to take the Preds, Blues, and Sharks, but I didn't have the guts to, and you did.
At least you admitted it.
Yes.
Mm.
I prefaced it saying I wanted to, I just didn't have the guts to.
And I wanted to take the Islanders, and I didn't have the guts to do that, so I'll throw that out there.
You didn't have the guts to do it in the second round either. It's
I didn't have
okay.
the guts to do it in the second round either, and again, I could be totally wrong.
Okay,
We talked about it yesterday, and I said, you know what? I said, this is like, at some point, all this hard work and this ability for a team to come from behind.
Well, it may be a little unfair to include Nashville on the year of the choker theme, but
Right.
they really haven't succeeded in the playoffs in their history.
No, I think it's completely fair, and I think that's a good point. And someone did text me last night and say, well, I guess not all the dragons are going to be slain. And, last night really both teams were slaying a dragon because,
Right.
but like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by Mike, I was trying to finish my thought there, was that the Islanders, honestly, what has happened is hard work and grit and determination has now, and a little bit of luck and things that have gone along the way. Of course, it always plays into it in the playoffs, right? Have now turned into confidence.
Right.
And confidence is a big deal in the playoffs. And when you're a confident team, you can do a lot. And
Good goaltending, good special teams goes a long way, and your best player being your best player. But we talked a lot at the trade deadline about all the teams that bought that are now playing golf. But Shane Prince has made a huge impact in the bottom six in this team, and then Alan Quine getting a shot. Like two guys kind of either came out of nowhere. Look, I don't know what the long-term plans are for this team, but right now all four lines seem to have jump. They seem to be working, and they infuse some speed into this team too.
Listen, Prince is a really good player. I mean, again, I said it the day he was traded.
You did.
I said he was going to be a good pickup, but people maligned me. Like, Islander fans are like, oh, he's just like another guy passing through, and he's not. It's just Ottawa has no money. They knew he'd be an RFA. They knew they wouldn't be able to sign him, so they took what they could get for him. The Islanders made a smart move. He's not a superstar, but he could be a second liner someday.
Well,
he has that ability.
I have to say that not to say it was a turning point because it was so early in the game, but the Cizikas hit on Condra, I think put everybody back on their heels because Tampa Bay came out and they were really good in the early going, got the opening goal. There was all the momentum going one direction, and then that hit happened, and it put a hush on the crowd. I mean, he was obviously a bit unstable as he was taken off the ice, and to me, Tampa sort of went back on their heels, and the Islanders really thrived from that point.
I think the Islanders punched him in the mouth early, and Tampa didn't know how to deal with it. Then the Islanders were sort of hanging on at the end when Tampa, figured out that they need to start skating again, and so it made it really close. I mean, Bishop was just awful. Like, we can't hide that.
And he won't be this bad for the rest of the series.
I mean, a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's something that you see in the first game of series that can always be interesting after the first round, because you had two teams playing at sort of different levels, where you play the Panthers in those tough one goal every single mistake matters games that the Islanders were playing, and then you look at what the Lightning was playing against the Red Wings and how they were playing, where it was a much more we've got this, the Red Wings are playing well, but we're going to win this series type thing, and you step into the Islanders are just 48 hours off of this.
Right.
Crazy, we just won 2 games in double overtime mentality, right. And for a week the Bolts have had they had 3 days off in that week of practice.
Yeah, I think in the first period you saw a Tampa team that had too much time off, and then in the third period I thought you saw an Islanders team who played 4 games in 7 days with 2 of them going into double overtime. I think the second period was like the only period where both teams kind of had both their legs going, and I think the Tampa took a while to get going, and I think the Islanders hit the wall and hung on for dear life.
Yeah, I will also say I think the chances of Jonathan Drouin getting traded are at 0% now.
I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, no, he has picked it up big time.
But also the fact that, again, Kucherov scores and how important Kucherov is to that team, and the fact that he's an RFA making less than $900,000 this year, and there is no way on God's green earth that his agent is going to accept a bridge deal.
What do you mean? Then you have to. If a team
he's going to want a long-term deal.
Power.
Yeah, he has no bargaining power, Mike. That's completely wrong.
Well, maybe.
Unless someone's going to come in and offer sheet him, and I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
With their current salary structure, it might be enticing to somebody to do it.
No, it's not out of the question. But is he really an offer? I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for the lesser offer sheets for years. You see the mega offer. You see the
like a 3-year, $3.5 million offer.
I guess the closest we can say on that maybe is was the offer sheet that what's the guy who got traded to O'Reilly. O'Reilly had a minor offer sheet type deal, but it was
like 4. It was like 4.5, something like that.
Yeah, it was still pretty big though.
It was 2 years, $12 million.
It was that much?
Yeah.
That was the offer sheet.
That was the whole problem, because that offer sheet made him equivalent in terms of his salary to Matt Duchene, and that was the whole thing that Colorado wanted to avoid. They did not want to pay O'Reilly the same amount of money as Matt Duchene.
Yeah.
Colorado is a weird.
Actually, wait a second. That might have been the deal that he signed after. The offer sheet was 2 years.
Colorado's a weird budget team anyhow, right? Because Will Butcher, one of their really good prospects, just went back to DU, and the fact that he's going back to his DU for a 3rd year means he's not signing with Colorado, and now they're going to end up trading his rights. And so, Colorado has weird things happening, so I don't even like to bring them up because I can't even figure them out. But if you offer sheet lower players, teams are going to start, GMs will just pick each other apart, and I don't think you're going to see that.
Yeah.
And that's why we almost never see offer sheets to begin with, because teams in this cap era, think about how many lower-level offer sheet guys are really out there every year. A ton.
Yeah, the offer sheet from Calgary was 2 years, $10 million, $5 million per.
Yeah.
So,
the thing you can see that the other way of going about this, of course, is trading Kucherov.
They're not doing that either.
Turning around, but that's if you need some other thing. But really, what you need is what Kucherov brings you. So it's not like you're gonna, you need that extra scoring. So I think that for now, although he can hold out or do whatever he wants to, it's not. He doesn't have a whole lot of power the way this is set up.
He's got no power.
But in time, that it will be a problem. But
it's
not.
all but in terms of what's most beneficial to the Lightning, signing him to a 2-year bridge deal, putting up another couple good years like that, and then expecting to make $9 million, or signing him long term now and paying him say $6 million. It's more beneficial financially for them to sign him to the long term deal now. The thing
if they have it, I mean, they're only signing him to a long term deal if Stamkos is gone. Right. But as long as Stamkos is in the mix, they're not going to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Let him. I mean,
but you're saying they're going to get rid of Stamkos because they have to do this. No. I'm telling you, they're going to wait Stamkos out, and then if they lose him, then they will do this. It's different.
Right. Stamkos determines what Kucherov does. Kucherov does not determine what Stamkos does. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, you can sign Kucherov to 2 years and let him walk away for nothing if you can keep Stamkos. I mean, you'll do that. As good as the Kucherov is, you'll do that before you sit there and say.
RFA, not a UFA, but yeah, you're right.
Eventually, you know what I mean. Eventually, he's going to be a UFA. You can let him walk away because you have to. Because if Stamkos wants to stay there, and we'll talk about Stamkos a lot this summer, but that's what it will be. You know, it'll come down to what he wants to do, really. And I don't think anything that's happening now with Drouin or anything like that really is affecting Stamkos.
No, it doesn't. Actually, the positive is that Stamkos is a team guy, and him just coming out and skating with his team means a lot to his teammates. They know he's not coming back this round, but the fact that he does that shows you that he is not a guy that is just all interested in money.
No, he's a really quality person. So I think but that doesn't mean he's not going to leave. But at the same time, we still have the better that team plays, the more Stamkos might want to be a part of that team too. So the
better that team plays, opposites of the same coin. The better that team plays, the more they realize that they can succeed without Stamkos.
No.
Without paying him $10 million a year.
I don't think that's really in the thought process. I don't.
I mean, we'll see.
I don't think it can be with superstars. That's and guys who are just who represent everything.
I'm just stating the obvious. I mean, they went through Detroit like a hot knife through butter. I'm just saying.
Right.
I think that team is good enough with the players that they have, the ancillary players other than Stamkos, that they can be competitive. And if you're looking at the situation from Vinnick's point of view and from Yzerman's point of view, and you have Kucherov, Palat, Johnson, Killorn, Bishop, Hedman, all to sign in the next 2 years, you cannot sign Steven Stamkos for $10 million plus.
But here's the thing: Kucherov doesn't score like Stamkos. They're not the same player.
Yeah, Vasilevsky. I think Bishop could become a cap casualty.
He could.
I think Bishop is a good shot on that one because here's a really
window into that last night more than you saw a window into what Mike's talking about, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and Vasilevsky is considered maybe the best backup in the NHL. So
he did well last night, right? He shut the door.
He does very well, and Bishop was arguably a Vezina candidate. So I mean, the whole thing, I think Bishop definitely is the case where he's going to be a free agent, a UFA next year, right? He's got one more year, I think.
Right. He's got one more year. And they'll wait until after the expansion draft to offer him, right, so they don't have to worry about protecting him.
Right. So that's where you're going to have issues. All right, let's move on to the next game because I'm just going to say the Islanders, it's fun. They're a fun team to watch.
They are a fun team. The fans should be happy.
You want to root for. You kind of want to pull for them right now. They are just.
We all know that they're undermanned compared to Tampa, but right now they won Game 1. That's important.
I don't know how they won Game 1, but they did, and I have to give them credit for it. But they were doing it in a way with smoke and mirrors. And not to say that they're, there's a.
That's been the story of their season, though. In a lot of ways.
Yeah. Not to say that there's Matt Carl's turnovers and the penalties were awful. They were just yanking guys down.
Yeah, the Lightning played with a lack of discipline that was surprising for a team. Went to the Stanley Cup final last year, and they have to nip that in the bud. I understand the frustration after seeing one of your teammates knocked silly by Cizikas, and I'm surprised they didn't go after him more and maybe throughout the series. I mean, I think Tampa Bay has the size on their roster to be able to deal with what the Islanders bring in terms of that forecheck and that fourth line that is a professional, are all professional disturbers, and we'll see. I still think Tampa's going to win this series.
I don't know. I still have to guess. I have to stay with Tampa, but
it's Game 1, but it was a good Game 1. That's what I'll say. The other thing is, and this is why the Rangers got rid of him. Brian Boyle killed like one guy on the ice last night, but he's 6'7". He's well over 220 pounds. He should have been wreaking havoc on guys after the Condra hit, and I saw him do it once. Did he do it more than that? Did anybody see that?
No, I agree with you. No, that was a real issue. No, and I think Tampa got caught a little bit by surprise last night, and definitely a couple bad goals by Bishop. I mean, the second game of the series is going to give us more of a feeling of what the series is going to be like. But the Islanders have definitely made their they threw a hell of a good first volley.
Yep.
Let's get to the nightcap last night. One of the best games of the playoffs so far, in my opinion, was this Game 7.
I survived it. I can't believe it, but I did.
You stayed up for it? I did. I made it too. Lots of caffeine, lots and lots and lots of caffeine.
Well, I'll dispute a bit that there was, one of the. I mean, there was tension, obviously, but after it got up 2-0, up until about the late second period, I didn't think Anaheim was really generating a lot of offense. They weren't getting a lot of great chances. The third period, desperation set in. They got that opening goal by Kessler very early in the third, and they had some opportunities, but really, I didn't think that Anaheim really stepped up the pressure until the final 20 minutes of the game. And for a team that was that talented, for a team that was that deep, and not taking anything away from Nashville, because they have obviously one of the best defenses in the NHL. Pekka Rinne in the last 2 games played very well, and they got some performances up front that were unexpected, like Colin Wilson. Anaheim, it's head-scratching how this team continues to do it. And now, obviously, the pressure either on ownership or on management is directed now toward Bruce Boudreau. I don't think he survives. I don't. I
think both of them should go. I think Bob Murray and Bruce Boudreau should go.
Not people have been saying that, Russ, but I was thinking the same thing.
Because I don't think they can go on like this. They have an older core now with a lot of money locked up. They have mostly good defensemen in their system. They have a few offensive players. Like, they're going to have to trade a couple of defensive assets to get offensive players, especially since the Hagelin thing didn't work out, because they've really weakened themselves offensively. But Ryan Getzlaf, a couple of years ago I heard people comparing him to Mark Messier, and I like Ryan Getzlaf, but he's been very disappointing this year, and especially in that game, he seemed completely out of gas. Like, in that game, he couldn't do that much, which bothered me. And that team is severely snake-bitten. I've never seen a team hit more posts or more pucks bouncing around a goalie and not go in than them. Corey Perry's got to be beside himself, because he had a couple of opportunities there that you think just defied logic.
Well, not to score a goal in that series for Corey Perry is completely absurd. You can't go 7 games if you're Corey Perry and not score a goal. I mean, that's insane. And to be honest, Pekka Rinne, really early on in that game, did not look on his game, and people were ripping me for saying it on Twitter, but I'm like, no, he's not. He's bobbling everything. He's overplaying things. He looks nervous, but his confidence grew as the game went on, and he had a hell of a third period. But yeah.
Well, think of it this way in terms of looking at the future with the Ducks. Getzlaf, Perry, and Kessler are all on the wrong side of 30 years old. And Kessler's extension kicks in this year. The 3 of them total to almost $23 million in salary cap. And we're not talking 1 or 2 years. We're talking 7, 8 years with these deals. So, they're locked in with those. Those contracts are immovable. So, they had, as Russ said, they have a bevy of good young defensemen. They have 2 RFAs in Vatanen and Lindholm. They're probably going to have to sign one and maybe trade the other one to get some forward help, because other than those 3 guys and a couple others, they don't have a lot of forward depth. They're losing 4 UFAs up front this summer. And they have to make a decision on, I think they're going to keep Gibson. They signed Gibson to a long-term, not a 3-year extension. Freddie Anderson's an RFA, and Freddie Anderson brought them to a Game 7 after Gibson lost the first 2 games. So Anderson's got value.
Gibson didn't lose the first 2 games for them. That's the crazy thing.
I'm not saying he was solely responsible, but I'm saying he lost. They had to go to Anderson.
They scored 2 goals, like in 2 games against the Predators in those first 2 games. I think if Boudreau's worst mistake, and there's a couple things about Boudreau that are really that are troublesome. The real thing about this team, though, is this is a hell of a good team. This is not a sucky team that we're talking about here.
But it's a good defensive team, and for whatever reason, they have a knack for drafting defensive players. I can now tell you, I can name you 4 guys in the minors that are all defensemen. I can name you Nick Ritchie, who will be their one good offensive guy. I don't know if he'll be great. And then after that, it's kind of like, role players and guys who can make it, but not guys who can make a big difference. That's where they have to change. That's
the best power play in the league this year. They had the least goals against in the league this year. They had the best penalty kill in the league this year. They are. I mean, this is a really very, very good team that does not get it done in the playoffs.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. And honestly, Kessler, as much I've been critical of that contract, and that contract, there will be a time in that contract when it is horrible. But right now, he is still playing very in the playoffs.
He played a great last couple of games. He was great. No doubt about it.
He's a much better. He's like a Justin Williams type, a better version of that.
I'm just saying that those three guys are at a certain level right now, and they're not going to get better in the next few years. They're probably going to stay either at the same level or get worse. So right now, what Anaheim has to do, what Bob Murray or whoever a new GM would be, is to build around that group and add to it, because right now they have shown over the last few years they're simply not good enough to win.
Right.
So, I mean, that means some dramatic change. I mean, you can trade Freddie Anderson. There are a lot of teams out there, I think, that need a number one goaltender, maybe 3 or 4 teams, and you could get a decent return. In a way, they're in the same position that the Philadelphia Flyers are, except the Flyers are not as far along. They have boatloads of young defensemen, and teams out there are killing to get defensemen. They can move 1 or maybe even 2 of them and help themselves up front, because if they can't score, they're not going to win.
No, I don't disagree with that.
I mean, it's just weird. You look at them and you say, they're a good skating team, they're a good defensive team, they have good goaltending, but you see it only gets you so far. It's like there's more to the equation than that. And look, they got Hagelin. We all thought it would be a good fit, and for whatever reason it didn't fit, so they bailed on him quickly, and they got cap space, but they didn't get anything back in return. Like, they basically, that was something where they could have gotten a good asset, and they didn't.
They admitted a mistake and said, "Can we get out of this?" And they, instead of eating any money, they got out of it by acquiring Perron, and now Perron walks as a UFA if they don't want to re-sign him.
Yeah, which they won't. But no, and there's something about Boudreau though. I mean, that you have to say, what is it? Why in Game 7s does this happen? And part of it is the fact that in 2 of those Game 7s they played the 2 teams that are going on to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that is something that is legitimate.
But you have to overcome that. Like, this is the whole thing.
You do. But
this is like the Heartbreak story. This is like Rudy. This is like anything else. At some point, you either overcome it, or if I'm the owner, I've got to go in a different direction.
Yeah,
how much blame does Murray get, though? There has been so much tinkering with this roster in the past 14 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like he should. If Boudreau's going to go, he should go too.
Well, and I don't know him personally, but I know people who do know him, and Bruce Boudreau is a great guy and well liked around the league. But the thing is, when you go 1-6 in Game 7s,
yes.
Well, no, but I mean, there's no question. But
I think Bob Murray's well respected, but I think we've reached the end of the line here. I don't think with the guys that they have, with everything else that's in place, the results should be better. Even though they didn't look like they were going to make the playoffs and did, it's still not good enough.
Here's the thing, and I might be reaching on this one, okay, so hear me out. But Boudreau doesn't look well on the bench to me. Like, no. I don't know what when you watch these games go on, and it's just in these pressure situations. I mean, the guy looks like, man, if you tried to put a blood pressure cuff on his arm, it would explode.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but we're not doctors, so I don't know.
No, I'm not saying I'm doctors, but I'm just saying that. And I'm not saying that this might just be the way he looks when he's perfectly relaxed or whatever. He's red as could be, and it just looks like. Why I bring this up is just this. Players respond to that. Like, players respond to how. Like, the thing that Sullivan does so well in Pittsburgh is he's completely relaxed. Like, he is completely calm all the time.
Or he's stone-faced. He keeps it inside.
Right. He's just But with Boudreau wears his all on his sleeve, and everyone knows the pressure that everyone knows that Boudreau's job's on the line. Everybody knows that he's going to lose. Well, I feel like it just becomes this self-fulfilling thing where players just get more and more nervous that they're going to screw it up for him. He gets more and more nervous looking. They're like, there's no, they kind of need what the Penguins had this year, which is this influx of young talent with no baggage. That would really that doesn't have to think about these last 4 years, and that would regenerate Perry and Getzlaf perhaps, but like it has with Crosby, to a degree. So
well, I can say one thing: he looks better. He looks better right now than Jack Capuano.
Yeah, Cap took a nice little shot off the face
taking
there.
A puck in the face.
Yeah, he's pushing all the right buttons right now.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing that goalies.
He's getting more out of a less talented team.
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing that coaches don't get hurt more often with those kind of things. I'm always amazed. I know players do shoot the puck at, and they'll never admit this, but they'll shoot the puck at guys on the bench when they're trying to.
Of course they do.
All the time, So that's and that
I
happened.
can neither deny nor confirm that I might have done that.
Yeah, no, but I mean it happened in the last Flyers Caps game where they where somebody shot the puck. I think Braden Shen shot the puck at somebody right on the Caps bench, and they went after him right away. But
yeah, don't give Antoine Roussel any ideas. He'll probably do that to the Blues.
It's not illegal to do that. That's the funny thing about it. So let's move on from there, okay? And here we are. I mean, there's some different kind of fun things, but we're going to stop right at 2 today. I wanted to get into this for a second. Boudreaux in Ottawa, what do you think?
No.
Ottawa's going to go cheap.
And they need to go cheap and young, and because they got a lot of work to do there.
Yeah. I personally, if I'm Ottawa, I go for Guy Boucher. That's who I go for.
I don't know. I might go for a young coach.
I think Boucher, though. I don't know.
They might go to the AHL. They might go to a guy like Travis Green, who is coaching Vancouver's AHL team in Utica. He's been in the mix for a head coaching job. Apparently, Luke Richardson is no longer in the mix, and he had been rumored to be part of anything. They might go to junior as well. They could go.
There's a big break. There's a huge shift that's going on in Ottawa there. That's probably been due for a few years now, and Richardson got kind of caught in the crossfires of that.
I guess.
Which is a shame because I think Richardson would be a hell of a coach, but
I do too.
And I think he will be. I think he'll get his shot. Let's talk a little bit about the Predators, and before we move on to tonight, though, because the Predators do now move on for this only the second time in their history.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to tear yourself for San Jose, Nashville? How are you going to?
I know. I mean, I'm the optimist. Unlike you, Mike, I do look.
Carter hung on the show to talk about this. I mean.
And no, what I want to say is, I want to say that. No, the optimistic thing of this is one of those two teams is going to the conference finals. I mean, that to me is an awesome thing. Like those are my two teams I follow in the West and have always followed. And I think my rooting interest is probably is more with Nashville. But if I
are you
was
going to buy a new pair of Fry boots to go with that shirt?
I'm going to go down there. Not I don't know. I'm thinking about going down there for Game 3 and 4. I don't think I am, but I'm possibly going down there.
Probably shouldn't wear the Martha's Vineyards hat if you go there.
No, I won't.
Okay.
But I do want to head down there and just because I mean it's going to be so awesome.
Hair extensions. I think hair extensions would be good.
Games 3 and 4 are going to be. I mean, in that next Tuesday and Thursday night, it's just very tempting to just. It's just expensive, but part of me is thinking, it might be a good time for a road trip. Just hop in the car, drive the 11 hours down there, stay for 2 games, and come back. Because it really is just going to be amazing. I mean, that city is so great.
I will tell you this: when I did that for the draft, I stopped at Cracker Barrel, and we slept in the rocking chairs until they opened. It was the best move of my life.
You slept in the rocking chairs. Those are awesome.
We were there like an hour early, so I fell asleep in the rocking chair while waiting for Cracker Barrel to open.
Oh, that's great. That is so great. No, Cracker Barrel is definitely that's a must hit when you're driving down to Nashville.
Oh yeah.
And there's one in Pennsylvania, not too far from me now in Pennsylvania actually. But it has to be a road trip thing. You just can't go like, hey, we're going to Cracker Barrel for dinner. You can't just do that with your house. If you're driving like 5 hours, like Cracker Barrel is the coolest thing in the world. If you're just like, hey, we could go to Cracker Barrel.
They're good for breakfast. Don't get me wrong. They've actually gotten really pricey, and I don't go as much as I used to. But you're right. They're better on road trips.
It's part of being in a car for 5 hours that makes Cracker Barrel awesome. And definitely
it also makes McDonald's taste delicious.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that. When we did a trip across the country, my wife and I, we counted every McDonald's we saw.
Oh my God.
Just to see what it was like, because when she was moving back from San Jose, and yeah, we were up over 400 that we passed. But of all those things, you want to hear the craziest stat? I'm just going to throw this out. This is so ridiculous, totally off topic. But here's a crazy stat for you, okay? There are more Chinese restaurants in this country than McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and Taco Bell combined.
I believe it.
That's correct, yep.
Isn't that crazy? But it's true. I mean, it's interesting that you always think of it, but yeah,
and we still have an overabundance of cats. I don't see how.
More egg rolls than egg McMuffins.
Wow. All right. Sorry, I guess I'm
Cheering
getting
ya.
invaded.
Here comes
But anyway,
the
let's
They're coming for you, Heck.
Yeah.
No, I know it was here, and I'm really pissed off about it because I'm getting our air conditioning's broken, and I told them I cannot do it till 2:30, and I'm sure that's them, but I'm gonna just ignore them. All right, because I told them 2:30. All right. So that's the Predators. Now let's talk. Let's before we get into we'll get into the Pred series tomorrow. I do want to get Dan. You're not here tomorrow, right? So I do want to get your thought on that on the Pred series. What are your thoughts on the Preds and Sharks?
Well, in round one, I went with the Ducks because I thought just the depth down the middle and the balance on defense was what would do it. But what it turned out was Nashville's depth on defense and Pecorine. I think Pecorine is the difference here. When he is on, he is one of the top 5 goalies in the game. When he's off, they go home. So with that being said, I think it's going to be another close series. I think San Jose's got a lot of offense, but I do like the depth of the Predators' defense. I think guys like Ellis and Ekholm are emerging, and some of their other young defensemen that they seem to just grow on trees. And if Rene's going to play like this, I think they're going to be in the series. So I'm going to say Predators in 6.
Preds in 6. Cool. I'll be right back.
The Dogs like that pick.
Yeah,
I do like that pick. Let's start with the Caps and Washington. Caps and Penguins series. And why don't you start this one off, Russ? I'll be right back.
Okay. So Caps Penguins, I really do feel that it's not Crosby versus Ovechkin anymore. It might be what we're going to hear on television. It might be all the video clips that we see, but I don't really think that's the case anymore. Not that either of them don't have a big impact on the team, but I think it's changed. I think the Capitals their fortunes are really behind Braden Holtby more than they're behind Alex Ovechkin, and I don't know why we don't hear that narrative, but I think that's an important one. And really for the Penguins, Matt Murray has sort of saved their season, because just imagine if Matt Murray wasn't good, what they would have been doing. They would have lost to the Rangers, right? So they're, I guess, in a way playing with house money a little bit, but I think we're going to see now what Matt Murray's made of as far as in his early NHL career. If he were to lose this series, I'm not going to count it against him as far as looking at him as a great prospect because he's gotten this far. But I just think the Caps, with the amount of lines they can roll and the size and speed of their defense, I think at times they're going to overmatch the Kuhnhackls and some of the lower guys on Pittsburgh that have sort of been getting away with it. I don't know how many times I had to hear Joe Micheletti talk about Connor Sheary, but he's playing with Sidney Crosby. He can skate with Sidney Crosby. It's not like he's lighting it up point-wise. He's skating and he's sort of handed him the puck. I think we've sort of overrated, or some have overrated, like the Connor Sheary effect. They do. And
it's funny because Sheary is playing again with Crosby tonight, and Kunitz, who has traditionally played with him, is playing on. He has no points so far in the playoffs, and
he's older and slower.
Older and he can't keep up. I mean, I think actually the most important line for that team is going to continue to be Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel. Yeah. If they get secondary scoring from them, they take the pressure off Crosby, and that sort of frees up Crosby to do what he can do. I mean, I agree, Russ. I think this series is decided more in the goaltending matchup and the depth at forward. Ovechkin and Crosby may neutralize each other, but the Chimeras, the Beagles, the Justin Williamses, this is where those acquisitions or those players that they've had for a while are really going to pay off. Tom Wilson and his physical abilities and his ability to get underneath the skin of some of the smaller Penguins forwards if he can catch them. Orpik is supposed to. They're saying that he is feeling better and that he may get the green light from the doctor. So if he does, he could be back in the lineup. Maybe not tonight, but maybe by Game 2 or Game 3. Alzner supposedly was banged up, but he'll be in the lineup for Game 1. I made the analogy yesterday, but before I was interrupted by that stupid chicken. The comparison with Holtby a few years ago when they played Boston and upset Boston in 2012 in the first round. Holtby was a rookie. And everything was new to him, and the teams didn't have a book on him, and he was able to come up as a rookie and beat the Bruins. Murray could do that, but I think the experience factor is going to probably be a problem for him. You could see Fleury back in the series if Pittsburgh falls behind early. They say he's continuing to skate, and he may be ready to come back fairly soon. So my prediction is Capitals in. I think I said 7, but it's 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's Caps in 7 for me. The other two things, the last two things I have is Shamir is really important in that team in the locker room. He really calms things down. I see a great zen out of him there. And actually, I'm really impressed with TJ Oshie in that locker room, too. He's really a positive guy and really just a great addition that way. So I think those are two big things, too.
I think what it comes down to is because I think this is an unbelievable hard series to predict. I think it's going to be Holtby or whomever is in goal for the Penguins. Obviously, is one of the biggest matchups. But I think the biggest matchup is the secondary star, is Malkin versus Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov was not good in the first round. I think that's the difference because so much cancel each other out.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible for me to pick this series because I like both teams and I could see both teams winning either way. So we're gonna go heads Capitals and it is tails. So we're gonna go Penguins in 7.
Nice, I like it.
Honestly, I just have no idea. I have no idea how to predict how this series is gonna come out.
Kuznetsov had 1 point in the first round, and Marcus Johansson picked up the slack. I think he had 6 points. So
he did, but at some point they're going to need Kuznetsov to beat Kuznetsov.
Exactly.
No, that's I totally agree with that point. My thought on this series is a little bit different. You picked the Caps in 7, Russ?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing about this series that I wrote about today, and I really do believe this. The Penguins played exactly as they have to play in the first round of the playoffs to beat the Capitals. They have to continue that moving along as they're playing there. But the Capitals have to be a lot better than they were against the Flyers to beat the Penguins.
Yes.
And that's what we just don't know if they can do that or not. I think they can, but there was such a – I mean, literally Neuwirth got inside their head to the point where, when Backstrom scored that goal, you would have thought he scored the cup-winning goal, the way that Caps bench reacted, and the way, Ovechkin did his famous, Moose DuPont thing across the ice we were joking around about because he was so fired up. They literally, weren't getting any secondary scoring at all. Their power play their power play was amazing, 8 for 17. Well, 5 of those were in Game 3 when the game really, that was a completely ridiculous game in general. They didn't score a power play goal in the last 3 games of that series, and their power play didn't look very good at all. Against the Flyers in the last 3 games. Against the Flyers power play penalty killing unit that was really beaten up. So, and granted Neuwirth was amazing and that plays into it, but they're going to have to score on the power play against the Penguins to beat them. And there's the biggest issue is this Capitals team, when you look at their goal differential over the year, they're like plus 65 or some crazy number like that, right? They were just but when you look period by period, their second period, they were like a plus 30. Their third period, they were like a plus 30. In the first period, they were a plus 2 in the first periods. And that continued into the playoffs against the Flyers. In the first period, they would take bad penalties. They would just really just kind of coast through these first periods. And the problem is this Penguins team is built to get a lead on you and put you away. And that's very different than the Flyers. Like this Penguins team, if you give them those power plays and you fall down 1-0 or 2-0, you're gonna lose 4 or 5-1. So the Caps cannot let that happen. I'm not convinced that they can stop that from happening because there's nothing that's shown me that they have. I mean, and as good as they are, I might be completely wrong.
A great goalie.
They have a great goalie, but. I mean, Lundqvist is a great goalie too, and
Lundqvist had the worst series of his life.
Yeah.
But part of that was the Penguins making him look really bad.
A lot of it was Lundqvist too.
It was Lundqvist. I'm not going to say that they're going to roll over in 5 games or whatever. But I do think that this is an issue, and I think that at the end of the day, now the Penguins, what they have going against them here is the way they like to score goals is actually the way Holtby's at his best. Like Holtby is very good down low. He's very good, even like defending as a 2-on-1 goalie, like getting across, making saves like that. That's how the Penguins like to score their goals. So I think you'll see a lot of that. Now the way the Flyers showed that you can beat Holtby, and really seemed like the only way they could beat him, were utilizing your points and getting shots from outside, and either getting a rebound or just getting it through screens. But Holtby's amazing at picking up pucks through screens too. He's an incredible goalie. That's what the Caps have going for them. No 2 ways about it. Murray, though, is not a slouch right now either. He's really just his calmness plays into the whole thing. Like there's Sullivan's calmness on the bench and there's Murray's calmness on the ice. and the whole thing is working to the Penguins' favor. So I'm going Penguins in 6. I just think that
I can't talk you out of it, but I think a misnomer was in the Philly series, everybody focusing on Mason at the beginning and then Neuwirth when he came in, and Holtby never had a bad game. He didn't have one bad game.
oh yeah, but the Flyers didn't have any offense either.
Well, but here's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we saw what happens. You don't have to have a lot of offense when Ben Bishop's giving up goals like he gave up and Lundqvist gave up some like he gave up.
Yeah, but the Penguins have a lot of offense. I mean, the Penguins are going to take 3 times as many shots per game as the Flyers.
I don't think that matters to Holtby. I don't think that's a big deal.
It might not.
A lot of shots.
It might not, but the power plays. I mean, they can't give up.
And we're putting a lot of faith in a 22-year-old goaltender who's played 3 playoff games. That's why I'm saying, I think Murray is a top-line goaltending prospect, and he had a great year in the American Hockey League last year. But we're talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs and playing the best team in the league. Right. It's not inconceivable that after 2 games they go to Fleury.
And that's a wonderful option for them to have. I mean, I don't think but I don't think it's going to be the Penguins goaltending that determines this series. In my opinion, it's going to be.
No, I actually agree with what Dan said. It's going to be if Malkin can continue to score, if they can get offense out of guys like Hagelin and Bonino, secondary offensive sources, not rely strictly on Crosby and Kessel. If they can get offense versus what Washington can do with guys like Kuznetsov, with Justin Williams, with Johansson. It's a battle of the secondary offenses.
Yeah.
Whoever wins that wins.
You know what? There's another layer here too. I'm going to take the Chimeras and the Beagles and those guys over the Kuhnhackels and the plugging lesser-known guys on the Penguins too, because those guys are young guys.
Right.
Beagle played out of his mind on the PK. Like, he was blocking everything in sight. He killed the Flyers on his own in that last Game 6. He did. And Chimera is always one of these guys that just when you least expect it, he comes up with a goal or 2 because of his speed. But I'm just saying they have a good mix of young and old, but the older guys play a really good role. And I'm not even counting Mike Richards. If you want to say Mike Richards is great on the PK, you could say it. I won't. But I'm just saying they have a lot of those guys. The Penguins are sort of lacking those guys, and it hasn't really been an issue up to this point.
Russ, I was shocked in that 1 5-on-3 in Game 6 that Richards was the forward.
Yeah, but that's how they want to use them. And look, on that particular 5-on-3, the Flyers didn't score, so I have to give props to him. But that's his role. Like, they don't have him for any other reason.
Yep.
No, it's really true. And they. I mean, that, and I think that the leadership that he's bringing to the team is what Trotz really likes about him. So, yeah, I'm.
Look, we didn't even mention Justin Williams' name. He could win 2 or 3 games on his own. I mean, we just don't know.
Yeah, no, he was at times very good, but he also had a weird series against the Flyers. Took a lot of weird penalties. And put the in a way helped. I think where he almost cost the series was the first period of Game 5. Because that's where the Caps should have rolled the Flyers, and they lost all the momentum coming out in that first period of Game 5, and that made it for an incredibly crazy ending. So to me that's I want to see that. I got to see more of the Caps. Maybe it's not fair. Maybe they didn't have to have more against the Flyers, so maybe that's why we didn't see it. Maybe we'll see it tonight because they have to have more against the Penguins, but. I don't know. Like, I know the Penguins are clicking on all cylinders. I don't know the Caps are. That's my opinion. It's just like, and I think
when you win a series in 6, you're pretty much clicking. I mean, flashy. They do it a different way now.
I just think the Penguins at home are going to be very, very tough, and I think they can win 1 game, and I think they will win in 6. It is amazing how many series they showed the stat last night during the Predators game. At least on the Hockey Night Canada feed I was watching, of that, since 2009, more series have ended in 7 than any other number. Isn't that crazy? Like, that's like more in 7 than 6, 5, or 4. So it just shows you how crazy close these series are. So
and the parity and all that.
Yeah.
So we should talk about the Vezina candidates.
Yeah, we can get into that. Vezina sounds good. But first, I do have to do one thing because I got in trouble for not doing this yesterday, and that is the mascot battle. Okay, so I had like 3 emails, amazingly enough, about this. So the mascot battle for the Islanders versus the Lightning to start with. Okay. An Islander, as we talked about before, is I feel like I picture the Downeaster Alexa, Billy Joel song, a guy fishing out, and working hard for his money and going out there and being tough, but Lightning is not the friend of a person who works the sea.
Yeah, ask George Clooney in A Perfect Storm.
Right, exactly. So I think if there's anything that takes down an Islander, it would be Lightning. So I think the Lightning are the better there.
I think the Lightning are the winner there. But what you announced or talked about for the Long Island person is not the average Long Island person. Like
right.
That's something that Billy Joe created in a song that used to exist a million years ago, and there's still some fishermen. Long Island's pretty affluent, so like none of those people are out on boats unless they're out there getting a suntan somewhere. I mean, Billy Joe didn't talk about the affluence of Long Island, where he used to live in Huntington in a big, huge house.
Yes.
The Islander is Mike Francesa. That's who it is. It's like
sipping Long Island iced teas out in the.
I mean, they have blue collar people, but there's a lot less blue collar people there.
Out in the Hamptons, right? Like sipping Long Island iced teas out in the Hamptons.
Hamptons. I mean, that's a whole other.
Well, that's again not a person like that would really not want it to rain, so that would be the Lightning still beats them.
The Lightning win. They win.
No matter how you slice it, that's not a person who's going to be like rough and tumble in the rain either. So.
Well, they could be golfers and they could be out on the course and get hit by lightning like the priest in Caddyshack.
So then the Penguins and Capitals battle of the mascots. A penguin, of course, is a buoyant, flightless waterfowl that can swim faster than any other bird. Definitely is a speedy bird, but very awkward on land. So when a penguin's in its element, it's incredible. But you take a penguin out of its element, it's awkward, but incredibly devoted. Will sit there and freeze. We've all seen March of the Penguins, and Penguins of Madagascar is the most underrated television series of all time. So there's that too. Then against the Capitals, which to me is a politician again. That's the only way we can go about it. So we're taking Donald Trump versus the Penguins of Madagascar.
No, not Donald Trump, because he's not from Washington. Remember?
No, he's not. But he's not. Yeah, actually, you're right. Okay, so let's take
John Boehner.
John Boehner versus
the suntanned orangey god from Ohio. Yes.
Right, versus a penguin in Madagascar, because the Penguins of Madagascar are very, very. I just think that at the end of the day, a person who works in Washington D.C. is going to want nothing to do with fighting a penguin.
Yeah, I think the Penguins going to outlive them. I mean, the March of the Penguins, there's safety in numbers.
Yeah.
They're used to it being tough. They huddle together. There's nobody in Washington that huddles together. They all fight with each other. They'll fight.
Right.
They'll lose the fight because they fight with each other, and the Penguins just being united will win.
Right.
Yeah, I always preferred Burgess Meredith over Danny DeVito as Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith was the gold standard. He was.
I like that. That was good. Definitely. Well, watch Penguins of Madagascar, the series on Amazon or Hulu sometime. Really hilarious. We're
bigger fans of puffins in my family, just so you know.
No, puffins are great. Puffins are northern animals. Penguins are southern animals.
A little more colorful.
Tomorrow we will definitely get into the sharks and what happens when a shark faces a saber-toothed tiger, and
depends if it's on land or water.
And when a blues singer, right? And when a blues singer faces a celestial body, so we'll get into that tomorrow, for sure. But yeah, so that's that. Now we can get into the Vezina. Sorry for delaying. But let's talk about the Vezina. I don't think this is a really short conversation, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's a short conversation. I mean, it's Ben Bishop, it's Braden Holtby, and who am I leaving out?
Jonathan Quick. That was the surprising one.
Jonathan Quick. Now, I would have put in Corey Crawford instead.
Yeah.
I think Corey Crawford's getting jobbed here.
Nothing new for Corey Crawford.
Right. I honestly, and I think it's different. I don't think he is that guy that the cup has only managed to come on his mantle just because of the team. I think that's sort of unfair, and I think he's gotten past that. But somehow he's got that reputation. I don't think Quick had the greatest year. I don't even care about stats. You could name me all the stats you want, but to me, the eye test, and look, the other two, no doubt about it, but the eye test told me that Crawford was better than Quick.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing was, if it wasn't for the last month of the season where he got injured and then really played badly, Corey Schneider would have been in the mix.
Yes.
But I mean, Crawford had an excellent season. I had him in the mix. I'm really surprised because I didn't think Quick's statistics were not. They were good. They weren't even up to Quick's previous standards, which is the surprise. So I'm a little stunned that he's in the mix. To me, he's clearly third. To me, this is no contest. It's going to be Holtby. It was more a question of
Holtby, but I don't like the reputation sort of pick there, and that sort of reminds me of the reputation pick. Well, it's Jonathan Quick. You got to put Jonathan Quick in because he's still one of the best goalies in the league. Yeah, he might be, but we're going season by season here, and I think sometimes everybody who votes, not only just writers but GMs too, may lose sight of that.
The only thing I'll give to Quick, as to play the other side of this for a second, is that there were times in the early parts of this year. I remember when the Kings were terrible. They really were struggling in the beginning of the year. They came out very slowly. They took a while to get going, and when they were really going slowly in the beginning, Quick actually was. I saw a couple games there that Quick really turned them around. Like there were a couple games in there that, if he doesn't play out of his mind, this season could have gone really dark really fast for the Kings. And it felt like there was a couple of games that he gave them confidence to be the Kings again. And I do believe that there was definitely something to that early in the year.
I felt like Chicago was in just as much trouble without Crawford. Not because
I think so. I think that's true too. But Chicago, people are going to look at Chicago and they're going to say, well, Patrick Kane had an unbelievable year, and they're going to. But you look at the Kings and really no one. I mean, and Doughty had an incredible year, so obviously, but maybe that's the wrong argument to make. But I think that there's no question that when you go down to it, this is Holtby. I mean, Holtby almost breaks Marty Berdore's record. He was out there. I mean, this is.
Yeah, we all know it's his year. Like, I'm okay with that.
It's an epic season for Brodeur.
It's funny. Crawford had 35 wins. He had a .924 save percentage. Like, these are not pedestrian numbers.
Oh, no, definitely not.
This is much of a slam dunk for the Vezina as Price was last year. I just don't think Holtby is going to get the Hart. He may get nominated, but I don't think he'll win it. I think there are other candidates. I think Kane's going to win the Hart when that comes out.
I agree with you completely. Let's get into the NHL Draft Lottery.
Right.
We only have
Hopefully the numbers are tabulated by tomorrow. No pressure.
Second to last draft lottery simulator, right?
No, we have one more tomorrow.
That's what I mean, second to last.
Oh, second to last. I thought you said last.
Yes, that's what second
Pay
to
attention.
last. What second to last means, Mike.
He doesn't pay attention.
And for whatever reason, it's coming up as a totally blank screen. Hold on.
That is exciting as heck.
All right, I can do it. I'll do it anyway, even though it's not.
I can do it on my phone.
I got it right here. I want mine to be the right one. Got to do this right. We can't screw around here, Mike. I will prove to you who it is.
Hey, I do want to say this while you're waiting. Corey Crawford played 10 less games than Jonathan Quick and was only 5 wins less in the win column and had a higher save percentage. I really don't get this.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you there.
It's not his fault that he has Patrick Kane on his team.
No, it's not his fault. Okay, so let's go, and here we go. Not NHL Draft Lottery. So I'm going to try this again.
All right, take 2.
NHL Draft Lottery Simulator 1's coming right up. So the
this is coming right up like service at Friendlies.
The NHL put the credentialing.
Like 40 minutes to eat. Like, I don't go there anymore for that.
The NHL put the credentialing thing out today for this draft lottery. Mike, if you're curious, if you want to go up to it.
Where is it being held?
Being held in Toronto.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Yeah, honestly, maybe.
We'll talk about it, but I think that might be a fun thing to do.
He's stalling, Mike.
I am stalling.
I got it on my phone. I can do it on my phone.
I got it right here.
Take 3.
You're gonna have to trust me. Ready? Here we go. The winner is.
Wait.
Today is the Buffalo Sabres.
Fix.
Wait, can we see that? We can't see it. You could just be saying names.
I am not. You got to trust me once in a while here.
No, we need photographic evidence.
I'll take a picture of this.
No.
Once in a while, you got to trust him.
Once in a while, you got to trust me. Here's the next one. The next winner is the Columbus Blue Jackets, followed by the New Jersey Devils.
All American teams.
Yeah, there's something wrong. This stinks.
Fix.
All American teams. I'm going to take a picture of it and show you.
We need photographic evidence.
Here it is. Ready? There you have it.
Okay.
All right.
Read an American sweep. What would Canada do if this happened? They would be so angry.
Maybe I shouldn't go then, Russ, because there'd be a killing spree if they're all.
No, but just like there'd be anger for the Oilers getting the first pick overall, I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like there would be anger if this happened.
Yes. Gary Bettman will have to be escorted out with Secret Service coverage.
Is it worse if this happens or if Edmonton gets the first pick?
Oh,
no, it's still worse with Edmonton.
Edmonton will be worse.
But this might be the second worst scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, the second worst would be Boston getting this. That would really completely baffle.
Oh, because of the 1% factor, maybe.
Yeah.
In Toronto, the second worst to Edmonton would be Montreal.
Oh, Montreal. Yeah, there's no question about that. So anyway, we're only a couple days away, and Mike, if you want to go, I will put in a request for you, and you will be there, I'm sure. But it's 7 to 9 p.m.
Yep.
And then you have media availability at 8:30. It says so you can, I'm sure they'll bring on out Austin Matthews in his Edmonton Oilers jersey to talk to everybody.
I don't know about that. I don't think they're going to have players there. I think you're going to be interviewing.
Well, no, last year they did.
Yeah, Connor McDavid was there last year. Why wouldn't Austin Matthews be there this year?
Yeah, I guess if they had McDavid last year, I forgot about that. You're right.
They had both Eichel and McDavid, didn't they?
I think Eichel was there too.
He was there too, but they really only
had those two. You're right about that. That's true.
Yeah, I mean they were both maybe I don't know. I'm assuming Matthews is probably back stateside, right? He's here.
Yeah, he's back in the States.
He's not playing or is he playing in the World Championship?
He's playing in the World Championships though.
Yeah, that doesn't start for at least a couple weeks now, right?
Yeah.
No, it's not that far off, is it?
It's I think it's a week to 10 days away, something like that.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Without the buzz, it's just hockey. We'll be back tomorrow with our picks for the final two games of the and we'll be there, of course, talking about what happens tonight in the Battle of 8 versus 87. Talk to you soon.